everyone, good morning and welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. It is round 6 of the 2023 Ferrari Challenge Europe season with Coppa qualifying 2 about to get underway as we head around the 7 kilometers of this wonderful, iconic circuit that winds its way through the Ardennes region of Belgium. We are here for the penultimate round of our 2023 season. This is precisely where we are located, and we remind you please to become part of the family by following us on @Ferrari Races. We would love you to be part of it, and please do be part of it. So we have some 28 drivers that will be going out during the 30-minute qualifying session to come, and what will greet them is the 7 kilometers of track with an air temperature of 19 degrees, a track temperature of 23 degrees, and still moistish conditions out there on the track currently. So it'll be interesting to see how our mix of Shell and Shell Am drivers will cope with the conditions as they are this morning, which are probably a little bit different to what they will be come race time this afternoon. There is Ernst Kirchmayr and his loyal engineer Franz making sure that he's comfortable in that car, and it was, of course, Ernst Kirchmayr in the race yesterday that finished very, very well, and finishing even better was Roger Grols, and he's with Ludovica right now.
Good morning, guys. Thank you. We are here with Poleman and the winner of yesterday. So, Roger, how do you prepare the qualifying session of this morning? How do you feel with this track condition?
Yeah, we don't know yet the track condition. I believe 80% is dry and 20% maybe a little wet. So we go out with used tires, and after 10 minutes we change to new tires and try to do our best.
And with your team, you are made more steps compared to yesterday?
No, not more steps. We are in a good flow, and hopefully we can continue. So, as I say, we're going to enjoy, we do our best, and try to make a nice, sporty, fair weekend.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you too. Have a nice day.
So Roger Grols then, who maxed out yesterday, will he be able to max out today in the 117 car? Well, as he says, don't know what the track is going to be like yet, but we will find out very, very soon. Also having a good day yesterday was this, Motohiko Isasaki, the Ferrari Challenge EU driver, choosing to race in the European Series this year. The Cornes Motorshiba driver, driving in Coppa Shell Am, took victory in class yesterday. Motohiko Isasaki, who's had a fantastic season, and it's well, so much talent as we walk down the pit lane looking at all the cars. Then to the left-hand side, we've just passed the car of Matthias Moser. A warm welcome back to Matthias Moser. There's the 152 car of Thomas Loflad, and here we can see Pino Frascaro to the left-hand side of the picture. And to the right-hand side of your picture is Josef Schumacher, who's trying to get in on the action too. So there is Josef Schumacher. The 119 car is driven by Louis Perscoya. And Louis is one of the Ferrari Challenge North America drivers as well, and well-traveled driver. And I love in Louis the new paint scheme across the 488 Challenge Evo. Very, very impressive indeed. So a mix of Shell and Shell Am drivers, as I said, that will contest this qualifying session. Of course, they classify independently. The Shell Am drivers carry a black strip across the top of the windscreen, and the Shell drivers carry a yellow strip across the top of the windscreen. And this is the Eric Chung car. Eric's wife, Corinne, there is just giving final words of encouragement to Eric before he goes out to set the best time that he can during qualifying. And Eric and Corinne, absolutely lovely people. The Formula Racing driver driving in the Coppa Shell class. So Eric Chung then about to make his way out onto the pit lane and head down towards his qualifying session. That is Fabienne Volvent, former Ferrari Challenge racer and racer in lots and lots of categories. A very talented young racing driver who also coaches one of our podium placers yesterday, Tommy Lindroth, who took, if memory serves me, a P3, Nico.
Yes, absolutely.
Good morning, I should say.
Good morning. Good morning. Yes, she has been has been coaching to Tommy Lindroth to quite some success this season. Regular podium finisher and overall better lifestyle for Tommy, courtesy of the harsh but loving hand influence, whatever, by Fabian Wohlwend, as we see lots of cars filing out of pit lane and down the hill into Eau Rouge at a modest pace. For the moment, that will change in a few minutes when the drivers pick up speed and try to set quick laps, and it will be through this sequence of turns, Eau Rouge and on the Camel Straight, one of the most iconic parts of any racetrack in the world.
It's a warm welcome back to Willem van der Vorm, who's been missing for a couple of rounds, and Willem's wife was here yesterday, and I hope is here today, and has often been a guest in our broadcast suite as well, so that she can see how her husband progresses. So welcome back to the Van der Vorms, and Willem, a fine racing driver in that 182 car. He's winless this year, which is very unusual for Willem van der Vorm. We'll see if he can right those wrongs today, of course. There is the back-to-guard liveried car of Christian Kinch. Warm welcome back to Christian Kinch as well, who missed out on the Estoril round, but he's back to full effect now, and delighted to see the very tall Swedish driver back out in his 488 Challenge Evo. Complete diametric opposite, if you will, to Tommy Lindroth, also a Swedish driver, but Christian, as I mentioned yesterday, is 7 foot tall and Tommy isn't.
No, that's fair. The average of the two is a normal height,
yes,
or an average height, but they were not, the height wasn't distributed equally among the two. The characters certainly were.
Oh, absolutely.
Big ones, both of them. There is Lisa Clark off.
The Rosso Corsa Pellin racing team, or Ferrari of Beverly Hills. I do like saying that. Lisa had, may I say, a fantastic weekend last weekend in Road Atlanta. Sorry, Road America, not Road Atlanta, where she took a P2 and an overall race win. Absolutely stunning performance from Lisa, who mentioned to me that she was coming out to Spa-Francorchamps, because it's another track that she really wanted to tick off her really rather extensive bucket list of circuits that she wants to race on, and when she does race, she's absolutely fantastic to watch and enjoy. And we just saw Stephen Earle there. Now this is really nice to see, the 113 car of Henrik Kamstrup. Now, you may remember yesterday, Nico, that Henrik Kamstrup of Formula Racing regrettably had a bit of an off, but Henrik is the car they've worked hard overnight, and the car is all done and dusted, and Henrik is back out on track again. We saw, I think it was at the end of Radion, where Henrik lost the car and careered into the barriers, but the integral safety of the 488 Challenge Evo meant that Henrik was perfectly okay. He got out of the car and is back out ready to go qualifying today, which is great news. Good to see. This is Thomas Gosner, also good to see.
Yeah, definitely. I walked through the pits yesterday evening, and coming into the pits, there was a big heap of debris, which was the front of the car formerly. But the team worked on the car, no hectic, no nothing. And, you know, the way these 488 Challenge Evos are designed, the front and the back kind of are intended to be replaced, and the integral car itself, the chassis and the roll cage and everything, perfectly unscathed, and which was remarkable based on the impact, and therefore, you know, the team was kind of like, oh yeah, okay, we'll replace the front, we'll replace the back, good to go. A little bit more than that, but there was certainly no particular drama or hectic within the pit, so I don't think it was a very late night for them based on how it looked. But in any event, great work by the team, and you know, it just underscores how much of team effort this racing is, with the teams, the drivers, but everybody around this, the stewards, the track marshals, the entire circuit crew, which allow us to go racing.
I don't know if you can remember, I'm sure you can, and we will get to times that will come up in a moment, but we're just allowing all the drivers to install before we see any real meaningful times from our racing drivers out there for Ferrari Challenge, Coppa. I don't know if you can recall, there was one particular incident, I think it may have been at Monza, Nico, in the Ferrari Challenge, when a fine driver by the name of Dario Carzo had an off, and I can't remember the reasons for his off, but he did have an off. And honestly, not only were the entire team of Dario's garage, hard at work, trying to repair what was left of Dario Carzo's car. But Dario himself, as the racing driver, Nico, was in there doing his level best to lend support and help. And at one point, I saw him with a 19mm spanner in one hand and a hammer in the other hand. So, you know, they really do get involved. And, you know, every driver will admit that, you know, it's down to the teams, you know, that they win and they lose as one. But actually, when you see situations like that, when the racing driver's actually taken his race suit off and he's in the workshop as well, in the garages here, and he's wielding the tools to try and support his team getting back out again for the next day's racing. That's remarkable.
Yeah, I do remember there was a scene like that in Hockenheim. But I don't quite. It may have been multiple ones. But yeah, definitely.
It could be lightly with Dario, couldn't it?
Definitely, Dario. The Dario Carzo School of Racing is a very unorthodox one, but a very quick one at that. Very quick as well, Axel Zarting, and he is our champion in Coppa Shell. Let's take a moment to pay respect to him. He also tops the timing chart for the moment, and as you rightfully said, timings at this very early stage are not going to be the times which will stand towards the end of the session. Therefore, as Motohiko Isazaki, our AM driver, just puts it on to P1, we still have a moment to focus on some of the stories and the legends.
Well, let me tell you, as I came off the air from our live broadcasts yesterday, and please don't think that we have a glamorous life here, because as soon as the live broadcasts are done, there are a multitude of other tasks that we have to attend to, which involve microphones and voices. But taking a 5-minute breather, as I did sort of late yesterday afternoon, I happened to be wandering past the Herta Racing Garage, which of course is the garage and home to Axel Sartingen, and as you might imagine, it was quite a voluminous and buoyant place, with Axel having secured the championship yesterday. And I was really rather humbled, Nico, when Axel said, you know what, it's an honor for you to have come down to congratulate us in the garage as well. And I got presented with one of those fine t-shirts, you may recall, with Axel abreast a moped, which was a wonderful image. So there we are. John Dillon is doing a great job here as we ride on board with him. I love this onboard shot around Spa-Francorchamps. And John Dillon, at the moment, as you can see, by dint of S1 being coloured purple, means that in that sector he has been quicker than anybody else. The Great Ball Nottingham driver, John Dillon, who's currently 8th fastest in the timesheets at the moment, but expect an improvement from John Dillon. Potentially his sector target times are 1:55.030, and lost time in the second sector by dint of, as you can see, all the traffic ahead of him. So John Dillon then will have to go again, I would suggest. The order in terms of Shell drivers currently, and we are expecting the times to be bettered significantly. It's Roger Grols who has gone out and put it P1 ahead of Axel Sartingen. Then it's a pairing of the Ghostners. It's Thomas and Manuela, they father and daughter combo that are P3 and P4 ahead of Christian Kinch. The best of the Shell AM drivers is yesterday's race winner, Motohiko Isazaki, ahead of Josef Schumacher, who is P2. Then it's Giuseppe Romelli, P3, and Pino Frascaro, who's currently P4. Change that now, because having gone up to P3 is Matthias Moser in Shell AM. So, as you would expect, it's all changing, and we ride on board, and we go inside the car of 151 John Dillon. How do we know that? Because the nice person has put that on the right-hand side there, but you could recognize John from being inside this wonderful car, the 488 Challenge Evo, as the number 100 car of Stephen Earle comes in, and Stephen Earle then having tyres changed. And as you may have heard, what generally happens is that the drivers go out on a set of yesterday's tyres, then they will come in and go to a set of new tyres to set their fastest time. Ludovica's in the pit lane. So we were going to go to Ludovica, but apparently not now. So we can focus on Manuela Ghostner, and Ludovica is with us now.
Yes, guys. Quickly news. I've told with one of the members of the teams of Pirelli for the perfect tires for this qualification and for this track condition. All the drivers and all the cars has the slick tires for make a good qualification.
Manuela Gosner, as you can see, is going very quickly. Sector 1 is purple. Sector 2 is purple now for Manuela Gosner. Manu then on a charge here in this qualifying session. She's currently P3, but looking for an improvement here. Motohiko Isazaki has improved as well for Coppa Shell Am, so we'll see what Manu can do. She has the bus stop turn waiting, but it's quite a way up the road yet, and Manuela doing a very good job here. So Manu finding the track conditions to her liking now. The front of the car compresses under braking through the bus stop first, right, then left, do the bus stop. Aha, do the bus stop, and heads towards the timing line. And those purples go to blue now, and she moves up one place to P3. So obviously other drivers behind Manu improving at the same time, and here she has going to have to go again. But Motohiko Isazaki, who up until now has been the best of the Shell Am drivers with a time of 2:35.729, is on an improvement trajectory and heading towards improving and bettering his previous time. So here's Motohiko then. He'll be buoyed with the confidence of the pace that he showed yesterday that took him to victory in race 1. And Motohiko now turns left, and the target time at 2:35.729. This is going to vault that as he crosses the timing line with a 2:32.531. Still not quite as quick as the quickest of the Shell drivers, but in class, Motohiko Isazaki doing a very good job for Kones Motors Shiba. And there is Motohiko Isazaki, and in replay you can see just how hard he was pushing.
Yes, he's going through the bus stop, and you can look inside the cockpit and see him work, and very, very delicately turning the steering wheel and maneuvering his 488 Challenge Evo in that day-glow green metallic livery through the turns, and he took over P1 in the overall classification for Shell Am from Kirk Burwald yesterday, who had a forgettable start to the race, which meant DNF and therefore no points. And that means for the moment Motohiko Isazaki is leading in the championship by 9 points.
9.
Which could become 10 if he were to finish on pole position in class.
Because there's always a point for pole, isn't there?
Yeah. Qualifying is never pointless. And Kirk Burwald, for the time being, still in pit lane. We haven't seen him. I did see him in the pits just before coming up to the commentary booth, so he is certainly there.
Can I give you a bit of an update on that situation, if I may be so bold?
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure that Kirk is going to be out in a spare car today, because I think it was at the top of Eau Rouge where he went into the barriers, and the team have felt that Kirk would be best served by being out in a spare car today. Right. I believe that's the intel I have. I could be wrong. Most oftentimes I am. But we will see. But the normal familiar yellow colours of the Kirk Beervold car, we're not expecting to be the normal yellows today. Not sure what the colour of the car will be, but when we see it, we'll tell you if indeed that does happen. There is Willem van der Vorm, who's in the pit lane there, and also in there is Alexander Nussbaumer. That looks like a new set of Pirelli P0s going on to the Alexander Nussbaumer car, ready for him to go out in what is very, well, just 50 seconds or so away from the second half of this qualifying session.
Yeah, and that is reflective of the general routine that we get in these Sunday qualifying sessions. First stint out on the yesterday's set of rubbers, and then once the tires are up, the tires are through and the brakes are up to temperature, the drivers change to a new set, and they go for time hunt in earnest. Hunting somewhat in the pit lane and successfully doing so is Ludovica.
Yes, guys, thank you. I want to discover more about the preparation for this qualification session with your driver.
Well, for us today was quite tough because yesterday we had a crash during the race, so we had to change the car. So actually we had to figure out that everything was working right on the car. So we were trying to fix all the small details that can make the difference, like adjusting the seat belt, the seats, and so on. And now we are on track, back on track, unfortunately, straight away with the new tires. So now I hope everything will be ready and we can perform as high as we want it to be.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that, to put in context and explain, does actually confirm what I indicated was the case, and that is that Kirk Beervold is out in a spare car. And as the team was saying there, of course, when you jump into another car, Nico, it's, you know, it takes a bit of work to become as comfortable with that car as your, you know, it's like a pair of gloves, isn't it? You know, you're used to your car and it behaves in a certain way and the nuances you understand. And when you get into a spare car, whilst the cars are absolutely identical, of course they are, there's always just a little difference or two, isn't there? So Kirk Beervold then out in a spare car, which I'm so glad that A, Kirk is out in a car, and B, that actually what I said proves to be correct, because otherwise I'd have looked something of a fool.
No, but it is indeed good, and Kirk Beervold is on an out lap right now as we watch Ernst Kirchmeier, but that certainly means we will see Kirk in shot at some point. Obviously huge qualifying for him,
yes,
with 2 races left at the Finale Mondiali for the European Series. That means 30 points plus points for fastest lap and pole position remaining. That means that 10-point deficit or 9-point deficit currently is by no means insurmountable, but certainly shouldn't get much higher if he wants to have a good shot at clinching that title that he has been chasing all season. Not clinching or chasing the title for the season is Ernst Kirchmeier, because he's not a full season entry. He obviously a former champion. His mindset and his goal will primarily be that world final race on Sunday. And we have a bit of a new format for the World Finals, which means we have our normal races to finish off the Continental Series, not only in Europe, but also North America and Japan. But then we get a dedicated qualifying session on the Saturday, which is only designed to set the grid for the World Final race. So where previously results from previous qualifying sessions were taken into account.
And may I say, that was always a bit complicated. I could never quite get my head around how that worked.
That's why we generally brought in a few majors of mathematics from MIT and other leading institutes to set the grid. I'm joking. But it was certainly above our pay grade to make sense of that. Now we have a much more transparent, dedicated day, really, for setting the grid for Sunday.
Right.
And we will figure out exactly how that works. But for now, we're focusing on our day today, and Henrik Kemstrup, good to see him back, as you already said. Car looks great. Henrik is this lap not necessarily looking as great as he would like it, but we still have 11 minutes and 45 seconds remaining, so much to do about it. As Kirk Beervold, we can see on our timing screen, is going for a quick one for the first time of asking.
Well, good luck to Kirk Beervold, who deserves better in the luck department than he had yesterday. So there is the 100 car of Stephen Earl, and Stephen Earl made his return to the Ferrari Challenge Europe at the last round at Estoril in Portugal, and creditable P5 and P6 in his return to the Ferrari Challenge, and great to see him here. And as you can see, unhindered by other traffic out there on track as he continues to wend his way around this Spa-Francorchamps circuit and round out a lap right now and put a time on the board. Here's Willem van der Vorm, who's going quicker than anyone else at the moment. He's currently P11 in class, but Willem van der Vorm is, as you can see, doing a good job here for Scuderia Monte Carlo, and has coloured Sector 1 purple, which means he's gone quicker through Sector 1 than anyone else. Basically, the colour bars that you see, if they're coloured purple, it means better than anyone else. If they're coloured blue, it means personal best. But at the moment, Willem van der Vorm doing a very good job here. We know how good a driver he is. He's been champion in the past, as Nico quite rightly said, and good to see Willem van der Vorm back inside the 488 Challenge Evo. And his target time is a 1:53.160 for Sector 1 and Sector 2, and yes, that is quite a vault up, because he's taken some 2.2 seconds out of the cumulative time thus far, as Axel Sardigan is also on a hot one. We've got him, or rather we've got his data up on the screen as well, but we're going to see the lap out with Willem van der Vorm as he rounds that turn now and heads towards the bus stop chicane, and now braking, car compressing the suspension at the front end, first right then left, and heading towards the timing line. So the target is a 2:31.381. We're at 2:29 and 2:28.962 as Willem van der Vorm goes provisional P1. Here comes Axel Sardigan for Luex Sportivo and Herta Racing. Personal best through Sector 1 and Sector 2. If he's really nailed the final sector, it could still be enough, but I don't think it will be. A 2:29.773, so he's some 8/10 down on the time that's just been set by Willem van der Vorm. And here comes Axel Sardigan running down now from La Source. Here, where you carry so much speed in the 488 Challenge Evo, and you have to have courage and other big attributes, to be fair, to roll the car across the curbs and then climb uphill and then onto that wonderful Radeon. Here is Roger Grols, who has now delivered the first sub 2:28 time with a 2:27.960, so he's taken a full second and 2 1/1000ths out of the previous best time from Willem van der Vorm. And Thomas Gosner is on an improvement trajectory. Nico, I'll shut up, you speak.
Oh, please don't. But indeed, we see that now that the drivers have picked up their new set of Pirelli P0s and they have done their installation laps, we have a flurry of personal bests and quite a few purple sectors thrown into the mix. Axel Sardigan, one of them. We just saw him complete the previous lap. Thomas Gosner also with a quick one. On the first sector, we will see how he fared through Sector 2 in just 10 seconds or so as he goes through these turns in the middle sector. And now we've got that double right-hander. You have to be very much on the apex, then run as wide as you can, and then duck to the inside. That's where the timing line is. Lost a little bit of time, 2.5 up, and now take as much speed as you can through that turn, and then out to Blanchimont. Axel Sardigan about 20 seconds behind him as they run through the turn. 7 minutes, 40 seconds remaining. And we go back and forth between the two of them. Axel Sardigan, he is approaching that timing line. We'll watch the timing screen as Thomas Gosner goes into the bus stop. Braking zone. Brake discs light up very close, very narrow through the inside. That doesn't give him the best exit on the bus stop, but he is heading for the timing line. It's going to be an improvement. It's P2, but there is more to be had, I believe. That final chicane wasn't the ideal line. Trying to find the ideal line, avoiding traffic. Axel Sardigan, P5 for the moment. Good avoidance by the car in front of him. He goes through the chicane, attacks the curbs on the inside, on the outside, full throttle. 2:27.865, 2:26.467, 1.4 seconds almost. Axel Sardigan, champion, leader.
And quick.
Oh, yes, sir.
Well, interestingly, as you were giving us that fantastic narrative of Axel Sardigan and also Thomas Gosner, Willem van der Vorm had gone P1 once again. And Axel Sardigan besting the time from Willem van der Vorm, but now Roger Grols has put himself into P2. And here comes Fons Skeltema. Now, Fons, for my money, in the race yesterday, Nico, he was a tad disappointed with where he ended up, but that was by dint of a drive-through penalty, if my memory serves me. But I said to Fons last night when I saw him that his overtake on Manuel Gosner going into the chicane after Radeon was a thing of beauty. He brilliant execution of an overtake. He did really, really well, and he was pretty proud of that as well. And he was in very good spirits when I saw him this morning heading towards this qualifying session. So we'll see what he can deliver. Thus far, through Sector 1 and Sector 2, he's delivered personal bests. Axel Sardigan is improving still further. He is the only driver in the 2:26s, and he's a full 1.2 seconds quicker than Roger Grols. It's Ernst Kirschmeyer that's now P3. That relegates Willem van der Vorm to P4, Thomas Gosner to P5, Manuel Gosner to P6, and Fons Skeltema to P7. And it's he that we watch right now. Oh, just a bit of a wobble through the middle of the bus stop chicane, and he breaks the timing beam now. And is it going to be an improvement from Fons Skeltema? Well, it is, of 3 places, Nico.
Yes, indeed. And in the AMS, we have Giuseppe Romelli on provisional pole as we take another look at Fons Skeltema. He really slides it here, so that wasn't necessarily quick, or as quick as it could have been, as he would have liked it. In the AMS, and Giuseppe Romelli leads, Josef Schumacher P2, Motohiko Uzaki in P3. Kirk Burwell is out there, but only P12 in class, and that means P20. Oh, and that just changed. It's now P9 in class and P21 overall, so a bit of an improvement, but I think it underscores what you said earlier. It's a new car, and getting to terms with that new car is not necessarily so easy. So for him, obviously, it's maybe about damage control today, to stay as close to Motohiko Isozaki as somehow possible, and then attack for the title at Mugello.
Because he and Motohiko Isozaki have had a fantastic battle during the course of the season. In terms of Drivers' Championship, they have been the standout stars and have been banking points, and it's been really nice to watch that. And it was very, very unfortunate yesterday with Kirk Beerwold out of the race. He wasn't able to continue that brilliant battle that he's had with Motohiko Isozaki. So hopefully he is going to be able to recommence that, as Nico has indicated today. But he is out in a spare car. This is Manuel Agosta that we're watching right now, who's on an improvement quest. And thus far through Sector 1 has definitely done that. Target time of 1:48.852, delivers a 1:48.7, so 1.5 tenths quicker than anybody else thus far. And that's the intermediate time. If she can continue that progress through the final sector, which is a long sector. Well, it's a long lap here at Spa-Francorchamps, but with only 3.5 minutes of this session remaining, we are getting into the final laps here. She's got Henrik Kamstrup, I believe, ahead. Now, Henrik will not hinder Manuel Agosta if he can help it. And as you can see, great gentlemanly driving there as he tries to dive out of the way. In fairness, that wasn't Henrik Kamstrup, that was Paul Simerson. And Manuela does improve its speed too, but Sector 3 was a PB rather than a purple one. Now here is Kirk Beerwold, and as you can see, the bit that I mentioned earlier on, Nico, is Kirk is out in a different car, and you couldn't get much more different in terms of color schemes, because we go from bright yellow to not bright black. And that's what Kirk Beerwold is driving now. He's done personal best through Sector 1 and Sector 2, so this could be an improvement for the super driver of Kessel Racing, Kirk Beerwold. Now, his target time at 2:29.422. We're a way away from that, to be fair. However, Kirk Beerwold breaks the timing beam now and improves another 3 places. It's up to P7 in class, Nico.
Yeah, I mean, he's still four seconds off the pace, and that is not indicative of his talent level, for sure. So you can still see, but it is a progression, and he's got, I don't quite know if he's still got 2 more laps, but certainly that one, and there is Axel starting, and oh, he's indicating something. Let's have another look at that, and there's going to be a replay. There is Willem van der Worm. That is not Axel starting. That's Axel. And there he is, and there he spins. And now obviously where he is in the bus stop chicane, everybody who's approaching that point now will be hindered significantly. And where he is, that may compromise the current lap, and it may compromise the next one, because you're already in preparation and you have to pick up speed. So obviously he's not stranded there, and he has completed the lap, so he's out of the way.
We're looking at Daniele Diamato, who is Axel's driver coach, talking to him on the radio there. And there is Manuel Agosta's driver coach, Giorgio Seneggiotto. Massimo Pepe there from the MP Racing team, his team boss. Because Manuela is second fastest now, Nico, some 5 tenths. Here's Willem van der Worm, and Willem van der Worm is currently 3rd fastest. We've got a minute remaining in this session, that's all. And we have had 1 or 2 track limits markers pointed out on our timing screen, and one of those is the 109 car, which has had a track limits warning. And that's the car of Ernst Kirschmeyer, remarkably. So we watch the cars coming down towards focus on filming that, because that's where the cars are at such speed, Nico, running downhill before a Rouge.
Yeah, those are actually not our actual professional camera people, just in case you were wondering. First, good sectors from Alexander Nussbaumer, also Ernst Kirschmeyer painting it purple through Sector 1, as Motohiko Isozaki has taken P1 in the AMs. That would, if it stayed, increase his lead in the championship to 10.
This is Thor Haugen that we can see right now in the 102 car. Thor Haugen is another one of the North American drivers, and the checkered flag has come out on the session. Where is Thor Haugen in the qualifying thus far? He is P13 in class, so Thor Haugen hoping for an improvement, and Kurt Beervold crosses the line. Does he improve, Nico?
Yes, he just improved up to P4 in class.
Good.
So talking about damage control, you know,
he's limited it.
Yeah, he certainly did something about that, and he will feel more comfortable in the car later on, I'm sure. Every lap makes a difference at this stage and through this progression. Every lap can make a difference through the rest of this session for the likes of Alexander Nussbaumer and potentially also for Ernst Kirchmeier. Double Austrian attack on row 1 as they go through the second sector. No, Alexander Nussbaumer lost a little bit of time, but he's still on trajectory for an improvement. Manuel Agostner also very good first sector, 4/10ths quicker through sector number 1. Roger Groves improves to P3 with a last-ditch effort. That was his last chance. Ernst Kirchmeier also still very quick, and we will see him. He's, I think, just ahead of Alexander Nussbaumer. There you could see him exit the shot, and he will cross the timing line. Will it be an improvement? Yes, it is. P4, Alexander Nussbaumer. P6 will turn to P6.
Stays the same. Alexander Nussbaumer, whom I shared a coffee with in the Lisbon airport on our return from Estoril, Nico. And a truly lovely gentleman to spend time with, if I'm honest with you, a bit like yourself. So Axel Sardigan, Manuel Agostner, Roger Groves, the top 3 in Shell. For Shell Am, it is Motohiko Isazaki, Giuseppe Romelli, and I have to give a big shout out to Josef Schumacher, Nico. P3 in quali. Josef is having a good time of it at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Manuel Agostner, quick update, no longer on a flying lap, so that is locked into that P2, but it's still a front row start. Thomas Loeflat is still going, and he might still improve. He's currently on 11th on the grid, so that may still change. Other than that, well, and it does, he's up to P9, so leapfrogs Motohiko Isozaki, which is not in class, but it will make a difference for how they line up for the race later on. Lining up for a photograph is a nice group of fans, and it's great to have some fans here, obviously.
We'll be down there with you in about 10, all right? Just hold that lens.
Too late.
No, not interested in us, Nico. That's disappointing, isn't it?
Well, you know, they've got their own agenda, and we are still a little bit busy in bringing you the end of this great qualifying session. And in fairness, it is over, but we still need to get the results, and getting the pole position boards will be the likes of Axel Sartingen and Motohiko Isozaki. Both are championship leaders.
Dare I say you're underselling the pole position awards, the Rotiform pole position award, which is a lovely, lovely thing to have on one's mantelpiece. And there's Fabian Volvend, who's had a few pole positions in her time of racing in the Ferrari Challenge, I think. And there is her driver, Tommy Lindroth, who was on the podium yesterday, P3. His qualifying would suggest that probably he had quite a late night. Just saying. Axel Sardigan takes P1. Manuel Agostner takes P2. Then it's Roger Groves. They are the top 3 in Coppa Shell as we have the qualifying confirmation. They're ahead of Ernst Kirchmeier, Willem van der Vorm, Alexander Nussbaumer, von Skeltermar, Thomas Agostner, and Thomas Loeflat. Now for the Coppa Shell AM drivers, it's Motohiko Isozaki. P1 yesterday, pole position today, and he is ahead of Henrik Kamstrup. And given what happened to Henrik yesterday, a P2 for him is very, very good news today in qualifying. Giuseppe Romelli is P3 in class, and they're ahead of Josef Schumacher. Kirk Beervold, Paul Hogarth with a very good qualifying. Paul Hogarth, a UK driver, also racing in the EU Series this weekend. Ahead of Stephen Earle, Lisa Clark, Paul Simerson, Matthias Moser, Tommy Lindroth, Pino Frascaro, Werner Genter, and Louis Perescoia. There you go, the full confirmation. It's Axel Sardigan once again, pole position. Daniele Diamatos, his driver coach with Ludo.
But very quickly interview about this good qualification of Axel.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was not easy for him. He did a really good job. At the start, we had a mixed condition until the end, actually. He was doing a really brilliant lap, even quick off the pole position lap. It was a shame that there was a bit block for the another guy. It was a bit dangerous. But at the end, brilliant job for them and perfect position to start in race 2 after the great achievement of yesterday about the championship. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Daniele Diamato then, who has been driver coach to Axel Sardigan, and Daniele, of course, a great racing driver in his own right, and competed for a long time in the Ferrari Challenge, sometimes with his father. So there we have it. Coppa qualifying done and dusted. Thank you so much for watching. From Nico and myself, bye-bye.